GoldenRoots' new edition with an exclusive performance of their classic hit, Mr. Telephone. My sister, you see this beautiful smile, the life of the party. She was this effortless energy of love. And to lose her, and you were very young.
Good evening. We begin tonight with yet another controversial comment from a GOP candidate for president.
Fresh reports about American broadcast journalist and television talk show host Tamron Hall are dominating headlines. But the real story is far deeper. From the heartbreak of losing her sister to career upheaval after leaving NBC, she has faced rumors of an affair with Donald Trump and whispers of a troubled teen past involving cocaine.
Tamron Hall is under fire after she reportedly admitted to facilitating the sale of during a taping of the Tamron Hall show, People reports. The segment was removed from the show before it could air.
Add allegations of a toxic work environment on her talk show, public scrutiny over COVID-19 safety, unfair layoffs of staff on her show, and criticism of her appearance. And it's clear her rise was shaped by triumphs, tragedies, and scandals few know about.
In July 2020, Daily Mail revealed that 20 employees at the show were fired in what was called a giant bloodbath. Hall sparked fury with a slew of showy living her best life Instagram posts while the firings took place.
Let's unfold the full story. Tamron Hall was born in Luling, Texas in 1970. She grew up in a home where her mother worked in education and her stepfather served in the United States Army for many years. Life in that small Texas town was quiet, but Tamron always paid attention to people, conversations, and stories.
Now, if you Google famous people from Texas, Michael Dorn of Star Trek fame comes up, and me, yes, the granddaughter of Louis Mitchell. I am on the list.
She would later say that she learned early how to listen and how to read a room, two skills that helped her in every newsroom she entered. Her dad also motivated her by showing her women who were already practicing journalism at the time.
And my dad looked at the TV and he said, if you get your grades up, you could be her. And I look at the TV and there's this woman, this black woman with this beautiful hair, because that's the first thing I remember seeing about her. And she had this very rich and thick and just powerful voice.
After finishing high school, she attended Temple University in Philadelphia, where she studied broadcast journalism. College opened the door to the world she wanted. She graduated in 1992 and moved straight into the fast-paced world of local reporting. Her first job was at KBTX in Bryan, Texas.
Today's show. Now, where did I start? Let me just tell you, one of my first on-air jobs was a local news reporter in Fort Worth, Texas at KTVT Channel 11.
She covered anything the station needed: crime stories, accidents, school events, weather scares, community meetings. The work was long and often unpredictable, but she learned how to stay calm in pressure. A few years later, she moved to KTVT in Fort Worth. This was 1994, and she stayed for 4 years. She kept doing general assignment reporting, meeting people from every walk of life. Texas gave her the foundation she needed, but Chicago is where her name really started to grow.
I remember being in local news in Dallas, Fort Worth, and I'd gotten my big gig, the first reporting job. I specifically remember, and for reporting, I was making $45,000.
In 1997, she took a job at WFLD in Chicago. She worked there for 10 years and moved through many roles. She was a general reporter, a consumer reporter, and even the host of a long morning program called Fox News in the Morning. Chicago politics and the breaking news cycle shaped her. She covered major events like one of the worst Amtrak accidents in Illinois. The pressure was constant, but she kept climbing. Chicago viewers got used to her voice and her steady tone. During this decade, she built relationships in the city, studied politicians, and learned how to handle difficult interviews. People began to trust her on screen. The newsroom pace was intense, but she was used to hard work. Chicago proved she could handle large markets. It also showed the national networks that she was ready for something bigger. By 2007, she took the leap to MSNBC and NBC News. That move changed everything. Suddenly, she was not just reporting for a local audience. She was speaking to the entire country.
Steve Kappas, who was the then president of news at NBC, he said to me, they were scouting different local news talents, and he called and said, "What do you want to keep being a big fish in a little pond?" And he said, "Why don't you come and go national? You have the goods, I can tell. Do you believe you have to go national?"
Her first years there were a mix of general reporting and fill-in anchoring. Viewers started to associate her with her calm voice and sharp questions. She had a breakout moment when she filled in for Keith Olbermann on his show Countdown. People noticed, and the network saw she could anchor shows on her own. She also worked on a program called The Big Picture with David Schuster. It ran from 2009 to early 2010.
Certain radio stations believe that. Well, 6 months after President Obama took office, a lot of sociologists and analysts believe that harsh political discourse against him really amped up.
Even during this time, she kept covering national news stories and filling in whenever she was needed. The work was heavy, but she liked being in the middle of the national conversation. Her training from those early years in Texas and Chicago was paying off. She could move fast, think clearly, and handle the pressure inside major newsrooms. Every step was building toward the moment she would become one of the most familiar faces on daytime television. But behind the polished look viewers saw on screen, a storm was already forming in her private life, one that she would carry for many years. By 2007, Tamron Hall had stepped onto the national stage, joining MSNBC and NBC News. For years, she moved between general reporting and fill-in anchoring, quietly building a reputation for professionalism and calm under pressure. Her big break came when she filled in for Keith Olbermann on Countdown. Viewers began to notice her on-screen presence, her clarity, and the way she asked questions that got to the heart of a story. Soon after, she co-hosted The Big Picture with David Schuster, covering major national events, and her career seemed to be on a steady, upward trajectory.
Guest Tamron Hall has just been complaining about the studio. She is the co-host of the third hour of NBC's legendary Today Show and the host of MSNBC's Live with Tamron Hall.
But while her professional life thrived, her personal life carried deep pain. In 2004, her sister Renate was found dead in her pool. The circumstances were violent and unresolved, and the case remains unsolved to this day. Hall has spoken publicly about the guilt she carried for not intervening more in her sister's relationships. This personal trauma would shape much of her later work, especially her decision to host Deadline Crime, a show devoted to investigating homicide cases and shedding light on the lives affected by them.
Waiting almost 30 years to learn the truth about his mother's.
Her first public encounters with emotion on air came during her time on Today, where she occasionally covered domestic violence stories. There was one instance when she became visibly emotional while reporting on survivors, connecting the stories to her sister's death. Clips of that moment circulated widely. Some viewers found it inspirational that she could still report through her pain, while others questioned whether such raw emotion was appropriate for live television. Either way, it revealed the human side of a journalist who was used to being in control in high-pressure environments. This period also included a confession Hall shared on her talk show about her youth. She recounted that during college, she facilitated a transaction with a boyfriend. She later clarified that she never sold herself and had only connected people. She said she shared the story to reflect on a mistake, not to glamorize it.
I shared a story about a bad situation I got myself into when I was 19. I never dealt drugs, said Hall. I am now nearly 50 years old and was reflecting on a bad judgment call that could have turned worse.
The internet picked up on the anecdote, creating another layer of scrutiny around her personal history. Despite the swirling rumors and personal heartbreak, Hall's professional star continued to rise. She anchored News Nation with Tamron Hall, covering major events like the final space shuttle launch and Hurricane Isaac. Her approach was direct, conversational, and connected with viewers. But under the surface, the mix of grief from her sister's death, public scrutiny, and the pressure of national television was something she carried privately. The years at NBC and MSNBC were a mixture of career triumphs and deeply personal challenges, a contrast that would follow her into every new chapter of her life. After years at MSNBC and NBC, Tamron Hall was ready to make her mark with her own voice. In 2010, she launched News Nation with Tamron Hall, a weekday afternoon show that covered everything from national news to global events and entertainment stories.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Tamron Hall, and this is News Nation. We have two breaking stories.
She reported live from Ground Zero after Osama bin Laden's death, anchored coverage of Hurricane Isaac in 2012, and even broadcast during the final space shuttle launch. Hall encouraged viewers to engage on social media, asking them to share opinions on controversial news stories. Her style was approachable, thoughtful, and calm under pressure, and she was quickly becoming a recognizable face across the country. At the same time, Hall was continuing to navigate the personal pain from her sister's murder. She dedicated herself to advocacy, using Deadline Crime, which premiered in 2013, to explore unsolved homicides and violent crimes.
I see it in your face now that it's still so painful as it should be. It's your mom. Even though it was old, it was like it was brand new.
Each episode featured two cases, and she and her team dug into the details, seeking answers through multiple sources. Hall has said that her work on the show was motivated by her sister's death, channeling grief into investigative journalism. The show ran for 6 seasons and became a key part of her career identity, blending her on-air professionalism with her personal commitment to victims of crime. In 2014, Hall joined Today as co-anchor of The Third Hour, becoming the first African-American woman to co-anchor the program. She arrived with confidence, wearing a jacket once owned by singer and activist Lena Horne, a clear nod to the women who inspired her.
Being the most marginalized.
It's the loneliest place in a newsroom because you do look toward your white female colleagues for support. And so many times they were the facilitator.
While she excelled on air, she faced challenges behind the scenes. Her tenure at NBC included a shift in 2017 when her co-hosting slot was given to Megyn Kelly. Hall chose not to accept a lesser role and left the network at the end of her contract. Interviews later revealed that she felt blindsided and pushed out, but she used the experience as motivation to build her own brand.
Our good friend Tamron Hall has decided to leave NBC News. Personally, Tamron has been not just a co-host here on Today's Take for the past 3 years.
During this period, Hall briefly partnered with Harvey Weinstein to develop a daytime talk show. That partnership collapsed after the Weinstein scandal, leaving Hall to find new backing. She eventually secured a deal with Disney ABC Domestic Television. These moves required resilience, negotiating power, and the ability to restart her vision from scratch. Her eventual syndicated show, Tamron Hall, debuted in 2019 with ABC coverage across 47 of the top 50 U.S. markets. Even while launching her show, Hall faced public scrutiny and controversy. Some former producers accused her of running a toxic workplace during the early days of her program. Others pointed to stories from her past, including the anecdote from her college years and the ongoing internet rumors about personal relationships. Hall addressed these claims on occasion, denying false reports and providing context where she could. She continued to show her human side on air, balancing professional authority with the vulnerability of someone who had experienced loss, public rumor, and intense career pressure. By the time Tamron Hall became a hit, she had earned multiple Daytime Emmy nominations and her first win for Outstanding Informative Talk Show Host.
I'm being interviewed. It says, we have breaking news, Tamron Hall. You've been nominated. I said, oh, yeah, I learned on the way here. She goes, no. The show was nominated too. In total, 1, 2, 3 Daytime Emmy
She was praised for the way she connected with viewers, tackling complex topics while remaining relatable. The show also received NAACP Image Award nominations and a Gracie Award, highlighting her continued influence in media. Even as Tamron Hall's daytime talk show began gaining traction, her personal life stayed under intense public scrutiny. One of the most persistent stories involved rumors linking her to Donald Trump. According to gossip sites and blogs, the alleged affair reportedly took place in the early 2000s, and some went further to claim it might have led to a pregnancy and a later termination. These rumors were never confirmed and remain unverified by credible news outlets.
2016, during Trump's initial bid for the presidency, whispers began to swirl that he'd had a relationship with Hall, which resulted in a terminated pregnancy.
Some sources suggested that speculation around this alleged relationship contributed to tensions behind the scenes at NBC, where Hall eventually left. Despite this, the rumors kept circulating. Media insiders reportedly looked into the stories while she was at NBC, though nothing was published. Some said she might have signed a non-disclosure agreement when leaving the network, which could explain her silence. Fans and social media users debated endlessly, with posts claiming everything from voicemails to insider knowledge. The internet went crazy, saying that these rumors explained her sudden rise or her connections in the media world. Even though nothing is proven, all evidence suggests that Hall remained focused on her career rather than engaging with the chatter. The gossip was often tangled with speculation about her professional behavior. Some former producers claimed the workplace was toxic during the early days of the Tamron Hall show, and some commentators linked this criticism to the broader rumors.
They left because the work environment on the show is so awful, the ex-staffer explained. Staff with children, people with a family member who is ill, those who need flexibility and a little more time off, that flexibility is not given.
Hall responded when needed, denying false reports and explaining what actually happened behind the scenes. But the stories kept returning online. Meanwhile, her career continued to expand. She interviewed countless public figures, including Trump himself during her MSNBC years. In one appearance, Trump congratulated her on her ambitions and her talk show launch. Hall also publicly challenged him in other interviews, holding him accountable for language and actions that she found objectionable.
Let's go by the numbers. We've talked a lot about building this wall, the very big wall. How much will the wall cost? Have you looked into the numbers?
Yeah, sure I did.
These professional interactions stood in stark contrast to the unverified claims floating on the internet, but they became part of the narrative surrounding her name. The rumors and speculation took a toll on her public image, but Hall persisted. She continued hosting Tamron Hall, focusing on engaging conversations and human stories. Clips of interviews, sometimes highlighting tense moments or controversial guests, circulated widely. The audience, curious about the person behind the headlines, tuned in regularly, while the gossip sites continued their commentary. Some conspiracy theories reveal that the rumors were even politically motivated, though there is no confirmation of that either. Through all of this, Hall maintained her focus on storytelling. She turned her attention to the subjects that mattered most on her show: crime investigations, human interest stories, and interviews with people from all walks of life. By the end of this period, the Trump rumors had become a kind of shadow presence in her public life. Some fans think that they defined her for certain audiences, while others continued to admire her work and her ability to navigate the gossip without letting it derail her career. Hall never addressed the rumors fully, and that ambiguity only fueled the ongoing speculation. Yet, despite everything, she kept moving forward, building the next chapters of her professional and personal life while the headlines continued to swirl. By 2019, Tamron Hall had fully stepped into her own as a talk show host. Her self-titled syndicated program launched with ABC coverage in most major U.S. markets, giving her a platform to cover stories that mattered and connect directly with viewers. From day one, Hall's approach was conversational, approachable, and direct. She tackled hard topics, welcomed guests with diverse perspectives, and created a space for honest discussion. The show quickly drew attention, earning multiple Daytime Emmy nominations, and eventually her first win for Outstanding Informative Talk Show Host. At the same time, Hall's personal life was undergoing significant change. She and music executive Steven Greener had been dating since 2017, moved in after 3 weeks, and they married in early 2019.
No, you don't. And he's like, yes, I do. And let's get married. And I'm like, okay.
Wow, that was something.
That same year, she gave birth to her son, Moses. Her pregnancy had been considered high risk due to her age and previous difficulties with fertility.
Today, I have an incredible guest for you. Emmy award-winning TV host, best-selling author, and mom, Tamron Hall. You know her from the Tamron Hall show, but today we're diving into her journey as a mom, her experience with IVF.
She had openly shared her struggles with IVF over the years, describing the emotional and physical challenges she faced.
You're not a failure if this doesn't happen. That's not me trying to like pat you on the back. And that's me telling you I've done the work to accept that I was not a failure. My body was not failing me.
Fans and viewers admired her honesty, and her willingness to talk about fertility helped destigmatize the topic for many. Even amid these milestones, Hall faced new controversies and public scrutiny. In 2020, reports circulated claiming that 20 people had been fired from her show during the COVID-19 pandemic. Hall denied the reports, explaining that the claims about unpaid staff and mismanagement were false. Around the same time, she faced criticism for interviewing Joey Guglielmelli, also known as Sherry Pie, a former RuPaul's Drag Race contestant disqualified over serious past allegations.
Multiple men came forward detailing how he used a fake online persona to manipulate and exploit them. Joey admitted to it, and the scandal got him kicked off last season's RuPaul Drag Race.
Hall defended the interview, saying her show aimed to have conversations with a variety of people, including those who had made mistakes. Other incidents added to the public conversation about her. In 2017, an Instagram post of her with a Black Santa Claus statue sparked debate online. Some criticized the post as controversial, while Hall did not directly respond to the outrage. Later, she shared a personal health struggle, revealing she had a parasitic infection called blastocystis hominis, which affected her daily life. This candid revelation showed viewers that even public figures face medical challenges and helped normalize conversations around gut health and privacy in illness. Despite these challenges, Hall's show kept going strong. In 2021, she started hosting Someone They Knew, a true crime series on Court TV, showing her skill in investigative storytelling.
Dion Baugh's second trial began in October of 2003, 7 years after Lance Herndon was found bludgeoned to death in his Roswell, Georgia.
In April 2024, a small grease fire on her studio set led to an evacuation, but no one was hurt. Hall addressed it on air, calming viewers and showing she could handle surprises with poise.
The Tamron Hall show was supposed to air a new episode today on ABC7, but there was an emergency this morning on the set of the show in New York City before that episode could even be recorded. Tamron explains what happened.
We had a grease fire in our kitchen.
At this point of her life, Hall had balanced reinventing her career, personal life, and public scrutiny. From local reporting in Texas to national fame as a journalist, talk show host, and producer, she had faced tragedy, rumors, workplace conflicts, health scares, and public debate. Yet she stayed focused on her work, her family, and the stories she wanted to share. Tamron Hall's journey is full of contrasts, success alongside struggle, visibility alongside vulnerability, and a public life shaped by both praise and gossip. From small-town Texas to national television, her story reveals the human side of fame and the determination that has carried her through it all.